All right, hello everyone. I am doing a different video for my channel, different kind of video. I have DaVinci Resolve. I edit on a PC, and I knew I was going to be upgrading from the free version of DaVinci Resolve to the paid version. And I was curious to see what that would do to my export times. I also knew I was going to be upgrading my memory from 32 gigs to 64 gigs, and I also wondered what that would do to my export times. So initially I ran 4 tests, and we're going to go over each one of these in detail. And then I did a 5th test with a more intensive project. So first I want to look at the specs of my system, which are right here. This is before I upgraded the RAM. This is a Lenovo model 3750 right here. And you can see the processors right here. It's an i7 12700. And you can see my memory right here, 32 gigabytes. DDR5. You can see my video card, which did not change throughout any of these tests. It's a 370 Ti. So the only thing that changed in the middle of these tests was with the system was the gigabytes of RAM, which I will get to. So let's go back here and look at our first test. These first 4 tests were all the same project. It was an hour and 19 long minute video. It's a very simple edit. This is it right here. This is the last test right here, which I'll get to. The export time is still up there, 25 minutes. I'm going to show you the color grading. Well, first you can see that it's a really simple video. There's hardly any transitions. There's a couple stock DaVinci transitions. There's some text up here. And then most of the clips do have a color grade. Very simple. On this layer here, I just adjust the brightness, contrast, saturation, tint, stuff like that. And then on this one right here, it's a LUT, which I usually have down to around 50%, which you can see right there. So very, very simple project. Okay, so let's look at each of these examples. The first 2 examples, the only thing I changed was the quality level because I was curious to see if that would affect my export time, which it did. And this difference in export time right here between an hour and 9 minutes and an hour and 2 minutes could have just been other factors as well. You know, my memory might not have been cleared out on this one or something. I don't know. I don't know that much about computers, to be honest with you. So here's the first example, 32 gigabytes of RAM, Resolve Free Edition 18.1. This video was filmed with, the video footage was filmed with a Sony a7C, which films in 8-bit. It was filmed in 1080 HD. It was upscaled to 4K. The quality was set to 60K in the first example. The file size that came out was 33 gigabytes. And here's the export time, 1 hour and 9 minutes to do an hour and 19-minute video. In the second test, the only thing that changed was this right here, the quality. Again, it was 7 minutes faster. That could have been due to other reasons. I don't know. Then I upgraded the RAM in my computer to 64 gigabytes. I was still using Resolve Free Edition. Same video project. I went back to 60K because I did think it's very hard to tell the difference in quality between 60 and 50, but it was a 30p video, so I figured I'd just double that on the quality. A lot of YouTubers said to do that, and I could notice a very slight difference. So I went back up to 60K. The file size, I was glad to see was the same as the first project because it should be. It's the same project, it's the same length, it's the same quality. The only thing that changed was right here, the RAM. And you can see the export time was a tiny bit faster than the first example by 3 minutes, which is pretty much nothing, and I think was just a coincidence, probably. I do have a screenshot of one of these. I didn't take a screenshot of every test, but here's the second test right here. You can see it completed in an hour and 2 minutes, which was this one. And then I also have my final test right here, which is 25 minutes, which we're going to get to in just a second. So we went over test 1, test 2, test 3. That's supposed to say test 3. Test 4 is this one right here. In test 4, I had upgraded the RAM to 64 gigs, which we already established really didn't do anything at all. And I upgraded to Resolve Studio, the paid version, and it went from 18.1 to 18.6. It's the same video project, an hour and 19 minutes, 8-bit source, HD upscaled to 4K, quality at 60K. The file size was the same, which I was glad to see, and the export time was less than half. So what we can see from these tests here is that upgrading your RAM, unless you have a very low amount of RAM, upgrading it isn't going to help you that much with simple projects. It'll probably help you in real time if you have a bunch of effects going. It'll help you preview those effects. Again, I'm not a computer guy. I don't do a lot of effects, so I really don't know. But you can see here this huge difference in export time once you pay for the studio version of Resolve, which I would say if you're regularly editing videos, that in of itself is enough reason to upgrade. Plus you get all kinds of benefits. You get extra effects, tons of extra features, which I needed in this next version. So I also did some other tests in between here with a Sony ZV-E1, which films in 10-bit. But this test I was just doing today, I just randomly had it on my computer, and it was a really long test. It was the closest thing I had to an hour and 19 minutes. It was actually only an hour and 2 minutes. And this was done with a DJI Pocket 3. I should have labeled these. This was Sony A7C. So these were all Sony A7C 8-bit, and this was a DJI Pocket 3 filmed in D-Log, which I wrote down right here, 10-bit D-Log. Okay, so test 5 was a different video project. It was an hour and 2 minutes long. It had more color conversion because it had to go from 10-bit D-Log to Rec 709. This had no color conversion. This was straight out of the camera. I filmed this so long ago, I don't really remember. It was probably HLG3, but it might have just been like the normal color mode, normal Sony color mode. Anyway, this was filmed in D-Log, 10-bit. So Resolve had to go from the D-Log to Rec 709 in the color space transform, and it also had a lot more color grading, especially the second half, which was low light, and it looked terrible. Just as a very quick side note, if anyone is watching this who has the DJI Pocket 3 and you haven't done very many low light tests, me personally, I do not like the low light mode. It looked like complete trash. So I'd rather just stay in 10-bit D-Log than use that low light mode. Okay, back to the example. So test 5, obviously I had the 64 gigs of RAM because I just did this test today. I had the Resolve Studio paid version, 18.6, 10-bit HD, upscaled to 4K, so that was the same. Quality was the same, 60K. The file size was 27 gigabytes. The reason this was a smaller file size is because this project was an hour and 19 minutes, and this one was an hour and 2 minutes. And the export time on this one was only 19 minutes. And again, this one had way more color conversion and grading than this one here. It also had more things going on with the audio. I had to tweak the audio because the mics didn't sound that good. So in short, this one had way more. This one should have taken a lot more, in my head, theoretically, this one should have taken a lot more power from the computer to render this version and export it. But you can see it took pretty much the same amount of time. 19 minutes for an hour and 2 minute video versus 25 minutes for an hour and 19. This is what you can expect from a fairly simple project for most editors. If you have the paid version of DaVinci Resolve, you have a decent computer, and you have an hour-long project. This is the export time right here in 19 minutes. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I was curious. I really couldn't find much about this. So now you know what happens if you upgrade RAM. Doubled my RAM here. And if you upgrade from the Resolve free version to the Studio version. So there's my plug. Now hopefully DaVinci Resolve will see this and send me some free stuff. All right, thanks for watching, y'all. If you're still listening, please subscribe, especially if you like bike content. Please subscribe if you like, tech reviews. I'm going to have a lot more reviews coming with Sony lenses, different Sony cameras, a bunch of microphone tests. I just got a bunch of new microphones, like the Sennheiser ME2, a bunch of lapel lav mics. I just got the Rode Wireless Pro. I'm going to be testing that out. I just got the DJI Pocket 3 with the DJI Mic 2. I'm going to be testing those out. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Y'all take care.